My beloved child, come, come and sit with me here, in this quiet and desolate place. Do not be afraid of what you see. This place of ashes, which you have seen as your graveyard, is, in fact, a holy ground. For a very long time now, a great and consuming fire has raged in your life. It has been the fire of a devastating trial, the fire of a profound loss, the fire of a humiliating failure, the fire of a deep and a lingering grief. And now, finally, the great, roaring flames have died down. The thick, choking smoke has begun to clear. And you are left sitting in the profound and eerie stillness of the aftermath. You look around you at the landscape of your life, and all that you can see is ash. The beautiful forest of your dreams has been reduced to ash. The strong house of your hopes has been burned to ash. Your own strength, your passion, your very identity feel as though they have been consumed by the blaze and are now nothing more than a pile of fine, gray ash. I have seen you as you have sifted through these ruins with your bare hands, desperately looking for anything of value, anything beautiful that might have survived the inferno. And you have found nothing. And so, with a heart heavy with a sorrow too deep for tears, you have come to a devastating conclusion. You have concluded that your life is over. You have concluded that everything of worth has been utterly and completely destroyed. The world has looked upon your devastation, and it has, in its own way, confirmed your conclusion. Those who are wise in the ways of the world have declared your story finished. They have offered you their sincere but useless pity for your great and tragic loss. And then they have walked away, believing with certainty that nothing good, nothing beautiful, nothing of value could ever again come from such a place of complete and total destruction. They have pronounced you dead, and in the silent, gray landscape of your own heart, you have accepted their verdict. You have come to believe that this is the end. But my child, they see only with human eyes. They see only the blackness of the ash. They do not understand the nature of my holy and refining fire. And they do not, and they cannot, understand the divine and miraculous potential that I have hidden within the ashes themselves. You have thought that your life was burned to the ground. But I tell you a glorious and a life-altering truth. Your life has not been destroyed. It has merely been cleared. The ground has been prepared for a new, a different, and a far more glorious planting. For from these very ashes, the ones you now sit in, you will arise, beautifully restored. Before you can embrace the promise of your rising, we must first sit together in the reality of this place. I will not deny your experience. Let us speak of the stillness of the ashes. First, there is the silence of this place. It is not the restful quiet of my peace, which we have spoken of before. It is a different kind of quiet. It is a deafening, hollow, and echoing silence. It is the silence that follows a great and terrible explosion. It is the silence of a life from which all of the old, familiar music has been stripped away. The sound of your own laughter is gone. The song of your own hope is gone. Even the sound of your own anxious striving has finally ceased. You are left now in a profound and an unnerving stillness that feels not like peace, but like the very silence of the grave. Then there's the blackness of this place. Look at the color of the landscape of your soul. It is black. It is the color of charcoal, of soot, of a world that has been utterly consumed by fire. You have searched with weary eyes for a single fleck of color, a single, tiny, green shoot of hope. But you see only the uniform, monochromatic blackness of despair. And you have feared that this blackness has seeped into your very soul, that you yourself are now made of the same dead, lightless, ashen material. There's also the coldness of this place. Touch the ashes around you. They're cold. The great, roaring heat of the fire is gone. And with it seems, has gone all the heat of your own life, your passions, your desires, your very life force. Feel as though they have been completely burned out of you. You now feel an emotional numbness that is terrifying to you. You are not even actively sad anymore. You are simply empty. The capacity for great joy or for great sorrow seems to have been cauterized within you by the intense heat of the flame. And you have looked at this inner coldness, and you have feared that you will never feel anything deeply or passionately again. And finally, there's the overwhelming sense of finality. This is the most painful aspect of this place of ashes. For ash, in your human experience, is the end of a process. It is the inert, the useless, the valueless residue that is left behind when all the life, all the energy, all the substance of a thing has been completely and utterly consumed. And so you have looked at the ashes of your life, and you have believed, with a logical and a heartbreaking certainty, that this is the absolute end of your story. There's nothing more to be written. There's nothing that can be rebuilt from this pile of dust. You have accepted the verdict of the fire, complete and total annihilation. But my child, you have been looking at the ashes through the eyes of man. You must now begin to look at them through my eyes. In my kingdom, fire is not only a force of destruction, it is my most powerful and effective agent of purification, and my most necessary tool of preparation for a new and a glorious life. You have been seeing yourself as a house that has been burned down, a tragic and a final event. But you must now begin to see yourself through a different and more powerful metaphor. You must see yourself as the great and ancient forest after a mighty and a cleansing fire has passed through it. Or you must see yourself as the mythical phoenix, sitting now upon its own funeral pyre, just before the moment of its glorious rebirth. You see a pile of coal, dead and useless ash, but I, the God of all creation, see a rich, a dark, and a wonderfully fertile carbon-based seedbed, a soil that had been perfectly prepared and uniquely enriched by the purifying fire, a ground that is now ready to receive a new and a far more glorious seed than the one that was there before. You see the final, tragic end of your story, but I see the necessary and dramatic clearing of the old, overgrown, and unhealthy forest so that a new and a stronger one can now grow up in the full and unimpeded light of the sun. You see the undeniable evidence of your own destruction, but I see the precious and essential raw material of your glorious resurrection. You see your own finality, but I see the sacred, holy, and expectant stillness of the moment just before the great phoenix is about to arise from the ashes. More beautiful, more powerful, and more glorious than ever before. Your own assessment of your present state is not wrong. You are, indeed, sitting in the ashes. But your conclusion about what those ashes mean and what they signify for your future is where your vision has so profoundly failed you. The stillness of the ashes is not the stillness of the grave. It is the holy and the expectant stillness of the moment, just before a great and a glorious miracle. And you believe that you have been alone in this fire. You have believed you are sitting alone in these ashes. But now I must reveal to you the great and comforting secret of your fiery trial. I must tell you of the unseen one who has been walking with you in the very hottest of the flames. You have now made peace with the reality of your present state. You are sitting in the quiet stillness of the ashes. The fire has passed, and you have survived. But now, we must do something even braver than looking at the ashes. We must, together, walk back into the memory of the fire itself. For you have believed that you endured that terrible and all-consuming inferno completely and utterly alone. And I must now reveal to you the great, glorious, and life-altering secret of your fiery trial. I must tell you of the unseen companion who was with you in the flames. I must tell you of the fourth man in your fire, when the flames of your trial were at their hottest, when the pain was at its most white-hot and intense. I know that you felt an aloneness so profound, so absolute, that it was a fire within the fire. You cried out for me from the heart of the furnace, but your voice seemed to be instantly consumed by the roaring of the flames. You looked desperately for any sign of my helping hand, but you saw only the searing heat and the thick, choking smoke of your own confusion and despair. And in that terrifying place, you came to the logical and heartbreaking conclusion that I had cast you into the furnace and had then abandoned you there to be consumed. But my beloved child, you must now remember the ancient story of my 3 faithful servants, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, for their faithfulness to me. They were bound and they were cast into a furnace of fire, a furnace that the king had commanded to be heated 7 times hotter than normal. It was a fire so intense that it consumed the very guards who threw them in. It was a fire from which there was no human possibility of survival. But when the astonished king looked into the furnace, he cried out to his counselors, "Did we not cast 3 men, bound, into the midst of the fire?" They replied, "True, O king." And he answered, "But I see 4 men, unbound, walking about in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt. And the form of the 4th is like that of a son of the gods." My beloved, your fiery trial has been your furnace, and like my faithful servants of old, you have not been in it alone. I have been with you in the hottest of the flames. I have been your constant companion in the crucible. I am the 4th man in your fire. And what was my purpose as the 4th man? In the midst of your fire, it was not always to extinguish the flames, for the fire itself was accomplishing a deep and a necessary work. My purpose was 4-fold. First, as the Lord of all creation, I was there to control the temperature of the fire, the enemy of your soul, and the brokenness of this world, intended for the fire to be a furnace of utter destruction. Their intent was to heat it to a temperature that would completely annihilate you, to burn away your faith, your hope, your love, your very sanity. But because I was in the fire with you, I was the divine thermostat. I had my hand on the controls. I allowed the fire to be hot enough to accomplish my holy and purifying purposes in you, which we will speak of soon. But I never, not for a single moment, allowed it to become a fire that would consume your true essence. I was there, absorbing the worst of the heat into my own being, shielding the core of your spirit with my own divine presence. The fact that you have survived the fire is the ultimate proof that I was there, secretly controlling its intensity. Second, I was in the fire to be your co-sufferer and your companion. I did not stand outside the furnace, watching you from a safe and comfortable distance. No, I entered into the fire with you. I have walked with you on the burning coals of your deepest pain. I have breathed with you in the choking smoke of your confusion. I have felt the searing heat of your loss and your heartbreak upon my own skin. Your suffering in this past season has been our shared suffering. I have been your intimate companion in the crucible. You have never, ever been alone in your pain. Third, and this is a great and a glorious mystery you must now understand. I was in the fire with you to burn away your bonds, not you. Remember the miracle that the king witnessed. The 3 men were cast into the furnace, bound with ropes, but when he saw them in the fire, they were walking around unbound and free. The fire had not touched their bodies, but it had completely consumed the ropes that had held them captive. This, my child, is one of the greatest and most glorious secrets of your fiery trial. The fire that you thought was sent to consume you was, in fact, sent by me to consume the bonds that have held you captive for so many years. The fire of your affliction has been my holy and purifying instrument to burn away the thick ropes of your fear. It has been burning away the heavy chains of your past shame. It has been burning away the cords of your secret addictions. It has been burning away your bondage to the approval of other people. It has been burning away your unhealthy attachments to the things of this world. The fire that you thought was destroying you has, in fact, been setting you free. And finally, while the fire was burning away your bones, I was there to preserve what was precious. In the ancient story, when my servants came out of the furnace, the scripture says that not a single hair on their heads was singed, and their clothes did not even carry the smell of smoke. The fire was only permitted to consume that which was not truly a part of them, the ropes. And so it has been with you, while the holy fire of your trial has been burning away the dross of your life, your pride, your self-reliance, your false identities. I, the 4th man, have been jealously and vigilantly protecting everything that is precious and eternal. I have protected the core of your identity as my beloved child. I have protected the eternal seed of your divine destiny. And I have preserved and purified the very gold of your character that was being refined in the heat. The fire has only been allowed to burn away that which was temporary, that which was false, that which was not truly you. I am calling you now to a complete revolution in how you see the memory of your fiery trial. I want you to stop looking back at it as your place of abandonment and destruction. You must, by faith, begin to see it as your place of most profound intimacy with me. See it as the place of your great liberation from bondage. See it as the place where you were purified and made ready for your glorious future. The furnace has not been your prison. It has been your place of transformation. It has been a place of my profound and mysterious grace. But you are not meant to live in the furnace forever. The work of the fire is now complete. The ropes have been burned away. The dross has been consumed. And I, the fourth man, your constant companion, am now taking you by the hand. And I am leading you out of the intense heat of the furnace and into the cool, clean, and refreshing air of your new beginning. You are now emerging from the fire, and you are not emerging smelling of smoke and covered in soot. No, you are emerging carrying the radiant glow of my own glory, and you are emitting the beautiful fragrance of a life that has been severely tested by fire and has come forth as pure, holy, and precious gold. And now that you understand my presence with you in the fire, we must now speak more of the specific and beautiful purpose for which the fire was sent. You now carry within your heart the glorious and comforting truth that you are not alone in the great and terrible furnace of your affliction. You know that I, the fourth man, was walking with you in the very midst of the hottest flames, controlling the temperature, sharing your suffering, and protecting your true essence from being consumed. But this profound truth, I know, leads to the great and ultimate question of purpose. Why the fire at all? Why would a loving and all-powerful God allow his cherished child to be put through such an intense and a painful ordeal? You must now understand that the fire was not a random tragedy that I permitted. It was a divine and a holy tool that I purposefully used. We must now speak of the glorious purpose of a purifying fire from your human perspective. I know that the fire has seemed only to take from you. It has burned down the house of your hopes. It has consumed the resources of your strength. It has scorched the landscape of your life, leaving you, it seems, with nothing but the coal, black ashes of your former self. You have looked at this work of the fire only as a work of destruction, as a cruel and a meaningless agent of profound loss. And you have wept for all that the fire has taken away. But my child, I am the great refiner, and your life is like a piece of precious, unrefined gold ore in my loving hands. This ore, as it comes from the earth of your human nature, is beautiful, and it has immense potential, but it is also mixed with a great deal of worthless rock and dirt and other base metals. In the language of the refiner, this is called dross. And to get to the pure, priceless, and beautiful gold, the refiner must place the entire unrefined chunk of ore into a great crucible, and he must put that crucible into the hottest part of the furnace. In the intense and purifying heat, the gold itself, because it is so precious, melts but is not consumed. And as it melts, the lighter, worthless, drops the rock, the dirt, the impurities rises to the surface, and the refiner, who has been watching with a keen and an attentive eye, then takes his tool and he skillfully skims that dross away, casting it aside to be discarded forever. This process is repeated again and again until all the impurities are gone and only the pure, liquid, and radiant gold remains. My child, the fiery trial you have endured has been my divine crucible, and its ultimate purpose has not been to destroy the precious gold of your true identity in me. Its purpose has always been to burn away the worthless dross of what was not truly you, burning away what was not truly you. Let us now, with honest and courageous hearts, look at the specific dross that this fire has so beautifully and so mercifully purified from your life. First, and most importantly, the fire has burned away the dross of your pride and your self-reliance. This is the most common and the most dangerous. Impurity that is mixed in with the gold of the human heart. It is the stubborn belief that you can live this life on your own. It is the subtle but a real confidence in your own strength, your own intelligence, your own goodness, the great, consuming fire of your profound failure. Your season of utter helplessness was specifically and lovingly designed by me to turn up the heat on this dross until it was burned away completely. The fire brought you to the blessed and necessary end of yourself. It showed you, with an undeniable and a painful clarity, the absolute inadequacy of your own strength. This process has been deeply humbling. I know, but it was absolutely necessary. For pride is a spiritual poison. It is the one impurity that would have made it impossible for you to ever truly receive my grace, or to be safely entrusted with my power. Next, the fire has burned away the dross of your worldly idols. The pure, 24-karat gold of your devotion to me was, if you are honest, mixed with the cheap, glittering dross of your devotion to other, lesser gods. You had a subtle but a real faith in your money and your financial security. You had a faith in your career and your reputation. You had a faith in the approval and the affection of certain key people in your life. These were your false securities, your idols, and the fire of my jealous and refining love. A love that will tolerate no rivals for your heart's ultimate affection came, and it targeted these idols specifically. The fire of your financial lack burned away your trust in money. The fire of your public failure burned away your love for your own reputation. The fire of rejection and betrayal burned away your ultimate dependence on the approval of people. I had to allow the holy fire of your affliction to consume these idols in your life, so that the pure, unadulterated gold of your devotion to me alone could shine forth with a new and a brilliant glory. The fire has also burned away the dross of your impure motives. Even your sincere service to me, my child, was often mixed with the subtle dross of impure motives. Your genuine desire to serve my purposes was often mixed with a secret, human desire for recognition and for applause. Your sincere love for other people was often mixed with a selfish need to be needed by them, to find your own value in being their rescuer. Your authentic worship was often mixed with a subtle concern for your own spiritual reputation, for how you appeared to others. The long and often lonely fire of obscurity, the season of you serving in the dark where no one saw you, where no one applauded you, and where no one thanked you, has been my divine tool to purify your motives. It has burned away the selfish, self-promoting, and self-aggrandizing parts of your service, and it has left behind the pure, beautiful, and priceless gold of a heart that now desires to love and to serve simply and purely for my glory, with no thought of any earthly reward and the fire has burned away the dross of your fear. Fear is a great and a sticky impurity. It is a spiritual contaminant that clings to the beautiful gold of your faith and dulls its shine. For years, you have been afraid of so many things. You have been afraid of failure. You have been afraid of the opinions of man. You have been afraid of the future. You have been afraid of your own weakness. The fire of your trial has forced you to walk through the very things you were most terrified of. And in walking through them, you have discovered a glorious truth. You have discovered that you have survived. And you have discovered that I was with you all along. A faith that has been forced to confront its greatest fears and has survived is a faith that is no longer afraid. The fire has burned the fear out of you and has left you with a new and a holy boldness. My child, you must know this about the heart of a master refiner. He never walks away from the furnace. He sits before the crucible, and he keeps his eyes fixed intently on the molten metal within. And how does he know when the gold is finally pure? How does he know when the process is complete? He knows that the work is finished when he can look down into the pool of shimmering, liquid gold, and he can see a perfect, a clear, and an undistorted reflection of his own face. My child, for this entire season of your fiery trial, I have been sitting by the furnace of your affliction, and my eyes have been fixed upon you. And the entire purpose of the fire has been to burn away every single impurity, every vestige of pride, of fear, of idolatry, of selfishness that has distorted the beautiful reflection of my own Son in you. And the process is now almost complete. When I now look into the purified vessel of your life, I can see a clearer and a more beautiful reflection of Him than ever before. Therefore, I am calling you now to embrace your new purity. You must stop grieving for the dross that has been burned away. Do not mourn the loss of your pride. Do not mourn the loss of your self-reliance. Do not mourn the loss of your false securities. They were worthless, and they were destroying you. Instead, I want you to rejoice in the pure, the precious, and the eternally valuable gold of your true character in me that now remains. You are not less for having been through the fire. You are infinitely more valuable. The fire has now done its holy and its perfect work. The dross has been skimmed away, and what is left in the crucible of your life is not a pile of worthless ash, as you have feared. It is a shimmering, a beautiful, and an incredibly precious pool of purified, liquid gold. And it is now ready to be poured out and to be fashioned into a magnificent vessel of honor for my house. But first, before we speak of the new vessel, we must speak of the great and wonderful secret that I have hidden for you in the very ashes that the fire has left behind. The great and purifying fire has now passed. The intense heat of your affliction has served its divine purpose. And as we have discussed, the dross of your old life, your pride, your false securities, your impure motives has been burned away, and the pure, precious, and eternal gold of your true character in me has been revealed and preserved. But I know that as you look at the aftermath of this fire, you do not see the gold. Your eyes are fixed on what appears to be the only remaining evidence of the blaze, the great, black, and seemingly lifeless pile of ashes. That is your former life. You now sit in its place of ashes, and you have seen it only as a symbol of your complete and utter loss. As the final, sorrowful proof of your destruction. To you, the ashes are the very definition of death and finality. They are what remains when all life, all color, all substance, and all hope have been utterly consumed by the flames. You have sifted through them with your weary hands, searching for a single, unburned remnant of your former joy, a single, recognizable fragment of your old dreams. And you have found nothing. And so, you have concluded, with a logic that is both sound and heartbreaking, that this place of ashes is your graveyard. You have believed that nothing can ever live here again. But my beloved child, you have been looking at the ashes through the eyes of man, and you have been judging them by the laws of your natural world. You have not yet understood the supernatural and redemptive laws of my kingdom. For I am now about to reveal to you a great and a glorious secret that I have hidden for you. In the very heart of your devastation, in the very center of that pile of coal, black and seemingly dead ashes, I have, by a miracle of my preserving grace, hidden one single, tiny, but all-powerful thing. It is a seed, but it is not an ordinary seed. It is a divine and an incorruptible seed of life. And even more than that, you must understand that the very ashes you have so deeply despised, the burned and broken remains of your past life, have now, by my divine alchemy, been transformed into the most perfect, nutrient-rich, and holy compost that will now be used to nourish the new and glorious life that is about to spring forth. You thought the fire destroyed your future. I tell you, it has perfectly prepared the soil for it. Let us first speak of this incorruptible seed. What is it? It is the divine and eternal seed of your true identity in my Son, Jesus. It is the seed of the glorious destiny that I planned for you before the foundation of the world. The great fire that you have endured, the fire that you thought had destroyed your destiny, has only served to burn away everything that was not your destiny. The fire has consumed the weeds of your false, self-created identities. It has burned away the shallow roots of your lesser, worldly ambitions. It has cleared the ground of all the things that were choking out the true seed. And now, this single, pure, and incredibly potent seed remains, lying dormant for a season in the warm, dark, and fertile ashes, protected and hidden, waiting for the gentle breath of my spirit to awaken it. This seed cannot be destroyed by any fire. It cannot be corrupted by any darkness. It is the indestructible life of my Son, and it is the very core of who you now are. And now, let us speak of the ashes themselves. You see them as the ugly and useless residue of your shame and your failure. But I, the master gardener, see them as a priceless and a perfectly balanced fertilizer, a holy compost that will ensure that your new life grows with a supernatural strength and a profound beauty. Consider the ingredients of this holy compost: the ashes of your past failures, which you have seen as your greatest shame, have now created a rich and a deep layer of the carbon of humility in the soil of your soul. This humility is a nutrient that is absolutely essential for all true spiritual growth. Without it, any new growth would quickly become proud, brittle, and would wither under the first heat of a new success. The ashes of your deep sorrow and your many tears have released into the soil a profound capacity for compassion and for empathy. This is the rich, dark, and moist part of the soil that will allow you to connect with and to bring healing to other hurting souls. A life that has never been watered by its own tears can only ever produce a shallow and a superficial fruit. But the garden of your life, having been so deeply watered by your grief, will now produce a fruit that is rich with the flavor of true, compassionate understanding. And this is the deepest mystery of all. Even the blackest ashes in the pile, the ashes of your repented of sin and your deepest shame, have been transformed by my grace. You have seen them as a toxic waste that has poisoned the ground of your life forever. But I am a God of such radical and creative redemption that I can even take the manure of your past life and transform it into the most powerful fertilizer for your future. When you have brought your sin to me in honest and broken-hearted repentance, I have not only forgiven it, I have taken the very memory of it and I have worked it into the soil. And the profound and abiding gratitude for my grace that has been born in you from the knowledge of your own forgiveness has now become the most potent, nitrogen-rich fertilizer in your entire garden. A fertilizer that is capable of producing the most beautiful and the most fragrant flowers of worship. Do you see, my child, the very things that you thought had destroyed your life have now, by my grace, become the perfect, divinely ordained, and nutrient-rich compost that will now feed your new life. I have not wasted a single particle of your pain. I have not overlooked a single tear. I have not forgotten a single failure. It has all been gathered. It has all been redeemed. And it has all been purposefully repurposed for your future good and for my eternal glory. This is the great and beautiful secret of the phoenix. It does not just arise near the ashes. It arises from the ashes. It is reborn from the very substance of its own fiery destruction. And so it will be with you. Your new life will not be a life that ignores or denies your painful past. It will be a life that draws its very strength, its deepest wisdom, its most profound beauty, and its greatest compassion from the redeemed and transformed ashes of the life that was burned away. Therefore, I'm calling you now, today, to stop despising the ashes in which you have been sitting. You must stop seeing this place as the graveyard of your past. You must, by a courageous act of your faith, begin to see this place as I see it, as a holy, a sacred, a fertile, and a profoundly hopeful seedbed. This is not the place of your death. It is the very womb of your resurrection. The great and purifying work on the fire is now complete. The rich and fertile bed of ashes has now been perfectly prepared. And the single, divine, and incorruptible seed of your new life now lies sleeping, but alive, in the warm and waiting darkness. All that is needed now is for me to breathe upon it. The deep stillness of the ashes is about to be broken by the miraculous sound of a new and an unstoppable growth. And we must now speak of the divine breath of life that I'm about to release upon you, to call you forth from the dust. The great and holy work of the purifying fire is now complete. The dross of your old life has been burned away, and the pure, eternal gold of your true identity has been revealed and preserved. And you now understand the great secret that I have hidden for you in the very heart of your devastation. You know that within the pile of what appeared to be cold, dead ashes, I have been jealously guarding a single, divine, an incorruptible seed of new life, a seed of your glorious destiny. You have been sitting in the profound stillness of what you thought was a final death, but it has not been the stillness of the grave. It has been the holy, pregnant, and expectant stillness of the moment just before a great and miraculous act of creation. The stage is perfectly set. The fertile, ash-rich soil has been prepared. The indestructible seed is in place. And now, the divine creator must act. You have been waiting for a sign from the world. You have been hoping for a change in your outward circumstances to tell you that a new season has begun. But the first and most powerful move of your new beginning was not an outward one. It is a profoundly inward one. And it is a move that I, and I alone, can make. So I want you now to be still, to quiet your soul, and to feel this truth as it happens. I, the Lord God, who in the great beginning of all things first formed a man from the dust of the ground, and then breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. I am now, in this very moment, leaning down over the redeemed ashes of your former life. I am putting my mouth to your spirit, and I am breathing. I am breathing my own Holy Spirit, the Ruach, the very wind and breath of God, upon the dormant seed and the glowing embers of your heart. And in this holy instant, the moment of your resurrection begins. My spirit, my breath, is the most powerful force in the entire universe. It is the same spirit that hovered over the face of the dark and formless deep at the dawn of creation and brought forth light and life and beauty. It is the same mighty, rushing wind that filled the upper room on the day of Pentecost and turned a handful of terrified men into fearless apostles who would change the course of human history. It is the same resurrection breath that my prophet Ezekiel prophesied to the valley of dry, dead bones, the breath that entered them and caused them to stand up on their feet. A vast and mighty army. This is not a gentle, sentimental breeze. My child, this is the powerful, the life-creating, the death-destroying, resurrection power of your God. And it is now being released into every part of your being. What are the effects of this divine breath upon you? First, as the breath of my spirit touches the incorruptible seed of your destiny that has been lying dormant within you, it is beginning to awaken from its long and necessary slumber. I want you to pay attention to your own heart, for you will begin to feel this as a new and an unfamiliar stirring in your spirit. It will be a flicker of hope in a place where there has been only hopelessness. It will be a new and a surprising desire for me in a heart that has felt only empty and distant. It will be a sudden, creative idea that seems to come from nowhere. Do not dismiss these things. This is the first sign of your resurrection. The divine life that has been hidden within you is now being activated by my breath. The hard outer shell of the seed is now cracking open. And the first, tender, beautiful green shoot of your new life is now beginning to push its way up through the dark, fertile soil of your ashes. Next, the breath of my spirit is fanning the single, glowing ember of your spirit that I have so carefully protected in the midst of the fire. For years, it has been a tiny, fragile spark that you have struggled to keep alive. But my breath is now fanning that ember. And what was once a tiny and a fragile spark is now beginning to glow with a new and a noticeable heat. It is being fanned into a small, and then a larger, and then a confident and a steady flame. This, my child, is the return of your holy passion. It is the resurrection of your zeal, of your first love for me, of your passion for life itself. The deep, pervasive coldness of the ashes is now beginning to be replaced by the beautiful and consuming warmth of a new and a holy fire. But this is not the destructive fire of your past trial. This is the creative fire of my own spirit. It is a fire that will not consume you, but will now empower you, enlighten you, and make you a source of warmth for a cold world. And as a gentle but powerful wind of my spirit begins to blow across the landscape of your soul, it will begin to scatter the ashes of your shame. You have been sitting in the ashes of your past, believing that they were permanent and a defining part of who you are. You have felt that you would forever be marked by the dust of your failure. But the wind of my spirit is a cleansing wind, and it is now beginning to blow away the light, useless and powerless ashes of your past shame, your past regrets, and your past self-condemnation. It is carrying them off, away from the garden of your heart, until they are no more. I am now cleansing the land of your heart. I am blowing away all the residue of your past destruction, leaving only the rich, fertile soil and the beautiful, new life that is now springing forth from it. And as this new life sprouts, as this new fire burns, as the ashes of your past are blown away, you will begin to feel a new and an unfamiliar sensation within your very being. It is the feeling of rising. You are no longer content to sit in the ashes. A new strength, a new hope, a new purpose is now beginning to well up within you, compelling you, pushing you to get to your feet. This is the beginning of your resurrection from the dead. But you must understand, you are not pulling yourself up by your own strength. You are being pushed up from within by the powerful, the irresistible, and the life-giving force of my own breath. My beloved child, I am now breathing out my very life upon you. And your part in this great miracle is simple, but it is vital. You must breathe in. You must, by a conscious act of your faith, choose to receive this new breath of life. You must open your spiritual lungs, which for so long have been constricted by fear and by sorrow. And you must inhale the new, clean, and hope-filled atmosphere of my grace. You must choose to partner with this new life that is now stirring within you. You must nurture it with your attention. You must protect it with your choices. And you must fan the new flame with your praise. The great and divine moment of your spiritual ignition has now occurred. The resurrection has begun. You may only feel the smallest, most subtle flicker of life within you right now, but I, who see the end from the beginning, have already seen the great and the mighty fire it will become. You may only see the tiniest green shoot, a life that seems fragile and vulnerable. But I, the master gardener, have already seen the great and the fruitful tree you will grow into, a tree whose leaves will be for the healing of many. The long, silent, and desolate stillness of the ashes is now over, and your new beginning, born from the very breath of your loving God, has truly, gloriously, and irreversibly started now. The divine and life-giving breath of my own spirit has now been breathed upon the ashes of your former life. The incorruptible seed of your new destiny has been awakened from its long slumber. The glowing embers of your heart have been fanned into a new and a holy flame. You are, at this very moment, beginning the miraculous and sacred process of rising from the ash heap of your past. But I know the question that now fills your heart as you begin to stand on these new and unfamiliar legs. You look in yourself in the mirror of your soul, and you ask, what will I look like? Who will I be? Will I be nothing more than a scarred, a burned, and a lesser version of the person I once was? You fear that you will rise. Yes, but that you will rise as something ugly and forever damaged. I know how you see yourself right now. You see the memory of the fire. You see the deep and painful scars that your trials have left upon your soul. You see a person who has been fundamentally and permanently damaged by the flames of affliction. And you have come to believe that you are now less beautiful, less desirable, and less valuable, both to me and to the world, than you were before the fire ever came. In your own eyes, you see yourself as damaged goods, as a flawed or an imperfect version of the person you were always meant to be. But once again, my beloved child, you are looking at yourself with the limited and profoundly mistaken eyes of the world. Your world worships a very specific and a very shallow kind of beauty. It is the beauty of the flawless, the beauty of the untouched, the beauty of the untested, the beauty of perpetual youth. But I, your God, have a different and a far deeper aesthetic. My eyes see a beauty that your world cannot comprehend. I see a profound, a breathtaking, and a glorious beauty in the ashes. I see a stunning beauty in the scars. I see an irresistible beauty in the evidence of a life that has been through the fiercest of fires and has emerged by my grace, not just as a survivor, but as a glorious conqueror. The person you are now becoming is not a lesser version of your old self. You are being restored to something far more glorious, far more beautiful, and far more powerful than you ever were before. You must understand this truth. You will be more beautiful for having been burned. Let me now describe to you the stunning nature of your new and restored form. First, you must understand the iridescent beauty of your scars. In my creation, I have left a picture of this great mystery. Consider the beautiful, iridescent, rainbow-like colors that you see on the inner surface of an oyster shell, in the heart of a precious pearl. You know that this stunning beauty is not created in spite of a wound, but because of one. It is created as the oyster, layer upon layer, releases a beautiful, nacreous substance to soothe, to cover, and to transform the irritation of a wound. A piece of grit that has invaded its life. My child, your scars, the very wounds that you have seen as so ugly and so shameful, are now, by the power of my grace, beginning to shine with a similar, supernatural iridescence. They catch the light of my love in a way that your old, flawless, and unbroken skin never could. Each of your scars now tells a powerful and a beautiful story. They are a testament to your resilience. They are a testament to my redemption. They are a testament to my faithfulness. Your scars are no longer your shame. They have become your glory. They are the beautiful, shimmering, and undeniable evidence of your history with me. And they will shine with a beauty that will draw other wounded souls to you. For in your scars, they will see the hope of their own healing. Next, you will now possess the beauty of a new depth in your eyes. before the fire. Your eyes were beautiful, yes, but they were often the eyes of a beautiful and a blessed innocence. They were, in some ways, shallow, but the fire you have endured has given you a new and a profound depth. When people now look into your eyes, they will see something that will both intrigue them and comfort them. They will see a profound and an ancient wisdom that can only be found in a soul that has suffered deeply and has met me in the midst of that suffering. They will see a deep, a quiet, and an authentic empathy. They will see a settled strength that is no longer afraid of the darkness. Your eyes no longer just reflect the superficial light of the world around you. They now contain a deep and a powerful light of their own. The very light that was so miraculously forged in the darkness of your trial. You are also now rising from the ashes with a new and a beautiful fragrance. The old you, in your pride and your self-reliance, had a certain scent that was pleasing to the world. It was the scent of self, of ambition, of confidence. But the great, purifying fire has now burned that old scent away. And now, you are rising from the ashes, and you're carrying with you a new and a holy fragrance. It is the beautiful, the sweet, and the irresistible aroma of a life that has been completely laid down. A life that has been offered up as a living sacrifice upon my altar. It is the fragrance of true, authentic humility. It is the fragrance of a broken and a contrite spirit, which is a scent that is deeply and wonderfully pleasing to me. And it is a scent that will be profoundly attractive to the other truly humble and seeking hearts in the world around you. And finally, you will now possess the beautiful strength of a resurrected life. You are not just being repaired or patched up. You are being resurrected. And resurrection life is a completely different kind of life than the one you have known before. It is a life that has passed through the fire. It has passed through death itself. And it has come out on the other side, victorious and alive forevermore. And because of this, it is a life that is no longer afraid. It no longer fears what the world can do to it, for it has already been through the very worst that the world and the enemy can throw at it. And it has, by my grace, survived. You will now begin to walk with a new and a quiet boldness, a fearless authority that comes only to those who truly know that their life is hidden with Christ in God, forever beyond the reach of any earthly fire or any demonic assault. This is the beautiful and fearsome strength of the risen. I am calling you now, my beloved child, to embrace this new and this different kind of beauty. You must stop comparing yourself to the flawless, the untouched, and the untested models of beauty that the world idolizes. That is not your beauty anymore. You are of a different and a higher order now. You are the beautiful of the redeemed. You are the beautiful of the restored. You are the beautiful of the risen. And yours is a deeper, a truer, a more profound, and a more lasting beauty than any other. I want you to own it. I want you to walk in it. And you must know that this new beauty you now carry is not for your own vanity. It is for my glory. It is to be a living and a breathing testament to my incredible, creative power to bring breathtaking beauty from the ugliest and most desolate of ashes. You are my work of art. You are my trophy of grace. You are my beautiful, my powerful, and my glorious phoenix, now rising from the flames. And now that you have risen, You must learn how to fly with your new, stronger, and more beautiful wings. You have arisen from the ashes, my beloved child. The divine and life-giving breath of my own spirit has entered you, and the new, resurrected life I have promised you has now begun. You have been beautifully restored, not to what you once were, but to something far stronger, far more glorious, and far more beautiful than before. But a resurrected life must now be lived in a resurrected way. You cannot simply return to your old habits, your old mindsets, and your old ways of being. You must now learn how to walk in the power and the beauty of this new life. You must learn how to walk as the risen. I know the strange and the subtle pull of the old ash heap, as beautiful and as light as your new life is. The old place of your sorrow has a familiar gravity. There is a strange and a morbid comfort in misery, and you will be tempted, at times, to go back and to sit in the ashes of your past. You will be tempted to put on the old, familiar, and strangely comfortable garments of grief, of self-pity, and of hopelessness. The enemy of your soul, who despises your resurrection, will try with all his might to lure you back to the graveyard of your former self. He will tempt you to believe that you do not truly belong in this new land of the living. But my son, when he rose from the dead, did not go back and sit by his empty tomb, mourning for the death he had endured. No, he walked forth in a new and a glorious resurrection power, and so must you. I am calling you now to live out your new, resurrected life with a holy boldness, a profound peace, and a joyful confidence. This is how you will honor the great and miraculous work that I have done in you. How, then, do you live this new life? It is a life that is learned through the daily practice of several new and life-giving disciplines of the Spirit. First, you must consciously and deliberately leave your grave clothes behind. When my son rose from the dead, he left the linen grave clothes folded neatly in the empty tomb. They belong to the old order of death, and they had no place in his new life of resurrection. In the same way, you must now, by a conscious act of your will, leave behind the grave clothes of your old life. This means you must leave behind the mindset of the victim. It means you must refuse to wear the heavy, dark garments of shame, of regret, of bitterness, and of self-condemnation. These are the clothes of the dead. You are now to clothe yourself every single morning in the brilliant white garments of your new identity, the robe of my righteousness, the garment of praise, the clothing of light, of peace, and of joy. Second, you must now learn to embrace your new beauty without shame. In your new, restored form, you are breathtakingly beautiful in my sight, but you may, at times, feel awkward in this new beauty. You are still conscious of your scars, the golden seams of your testimony, and you may be tempted to hide them, to apologize for them, to feel that you are less beautiful than those who have never been so deeply broken. But you must resist this. When people are drawn to the new light in your eyes, when they comment on the new peace or the new strength they see in you, you are to receive their words with a simple and a gracious thank you. And you must always point them to me, the master artist who has done this restorative work in you. You are to own the unique beauty of your restoration without a trace of false humility, and without a single ounce of pride. Third, you must now begin to walk with resurrection power and authority. Resurrection life is the single most powerful force in the entire universe. It is the power that has definitively conquered sin, that has shattered the gates of hell, and that has utterly defeated death itself. And this very power, the same power that raised my son from the grave, now lives and dwells in you by my Holy Spirit. I am now calling you to begin to walk in the reality of this power. This means that you are no longer to see yourself as a helpless victim of your circumstances, for you have been given, in my Son, a divine authority over the very things that once tried to destroy you. You are to learn to speak to the darkness, both within you and around you, not with the timid voice of a fearful victim, but with the authoritative voice of a royal child of God who knows that the darkness must flee at your command. You are to learn to minister my healing to others, not with a hesitant hope, but with a quiet confidence in the power that flows through you. You are to walk through this world no longer as one who is afraid of death, but as one who has already, in your spirit, passed from death into an everlasting and an unconquerable life. And finally, to sustain this new life, you must learn to feed on the bread of life. A resurrected body requires a new and a heavenly kind of food. You can no longer find your primary sustenance in the junk food of this world, its fleeting pleasures, its empty praises, its hollow comforts, and its endless distractions. You must now learn to feed your new life daily on the true bread from heaven. And that bread is my Son, Jesus, and is my living and active word, your time spent with me each day, feasting on my scriptures, receiving my life and my truth into your spirit, is the essential and non-negotiable nourishment that will keep your resurrected life strong, healthy, and vibrant as you learn to live out this resurrected life. As you practice these holy disciplines, you will become a walking, talking, breathing miracle. Your very existence will be an undeniable and a glorious testament to my power to bring life from death, hope from despair, and breathtaking beauty from the ugliest of ashes. You will become a beacon of hope to a world that is lost in the darkness of its own ash heaps. Your story, the story of your own personal resurrection, will be the living proof that no situation is too hopeless, no person is too broken, and no life is too far gone for the reach of my redeeming and restorative love. And so, my beautiful Phoenix, my beloved child, risen and gloriously restored, our journey of revelation has now come to its end. From the cold and silent stillness of the ashes, where you believed your story was over, through the revelation of my constant presence with you, in the very heart of the fire, from the understanding of the fire's purifying purpose, to the discovery of the incorruptible seed of a life I had hidden for you in the ashes. From the moment my own breath brought you back to life, to the unveiling of your new and more beautiful form, I have led you. And now you have the simple, joyful instructions for how to live out this new, resurrected life for my glory. I want you to see yourself now, not as a fragile survivor, but as a glorious, mythical creature, rising from the embers on wings of fire and of gold. The sun is catching the iridescent beauty of your healed scars. You are strong, you are beautiful, you are free, and you are ascending into the sky, into a new dimension of life that you never before thought was possible. This is not a fantasy. This is the spiritual reality of who you now are. Walk now in the beauty of your restoration. Live in the power of your resurrection. You are my masterpiece, born from the fire, and you are beautiful and wonderful in my sight.